What it takes to write algorithm-proof content. That's the topic of today's episode of the How to Make Money as a Creator podcast. If you don't know who I am, my name is Matthew Lakajev. I run a program called 7-Figure Creators where we help creators, or 485 creators now, hit their first 6, then 7 figures on LinkedIn as well. So I'm pumped for this one. I thought I'd quickly record this episode because a guy in our program who recently joined asked me a question around what should he focus on if he just really wants to build out his personal brand now before he starts doing a coaching thing in, say, 6 months or 12 months' time. So he really wants to establish a brand. What should he be doing? And like, what does it take to actually build a brand on the LinkedIn platform? And for context, he works for a company called Valuetainment, which is a really massive media news company by a guy called Patrick Bet-David, who owns it. I love Patrick Bet-David's content, and Carl works for his company. So pretty cool as well. They have 5.76 million followers, subscribers on YouTube, and he's wanting to branch out into the content space. So he asked me a question specifically on like, what should he do? And so he's like, yeah, in 6 months' time, this is what I want to do. I want to build a personal brand. So I'm going to just relay the advice that I gave to him here. If you want to build a really strong brand and what it takes to actually produce good content. So what you need to find, and there's a guy called Devin Reed. He coined this term, I think, DEVIN space REED. If you reach out, follow him, epic content. He coined a term called content market fit. What that means is when you first start producing content and putting it out there, you don't know what's going to work. And so you've kind of got to like throw heaps of, like, do tons of volume and throw heaps of stuff at a wall before you actually know what people resonate with. And then over time, you'll realize which pieces of content people gravitated towards from you, and you'll get more likes, more attention, more leads, all that kind of stuff. And then you'll slowly realize what your content market fit is. Like, what's the content that if you talk about and the way that you write it is actually going to explode. And this is like a curation and a distillation process that happens over time. That's how I know, when I write certain lead magnet type posts, I know I'm going to get 500, 1,000, 2,000 likes every time. And I've tested it with our employees who had 50 followers and he got 750 comments. So we know how to do it. It's like a skill if you find this thing called content market fit as well. But if you want to produce like algorithm-proof content, my suggestion to him was to go through our content module 2 to 3 times. So say you don't have access to our content module, you want to learn the art of copywriting. So take a LinkedIn copywriting course and don't just go through it once, go through it 2 to 3 times. Like the most successful people in our program who get good at copywriting or writing good content, there's one guy called Chris. He's a financial advisor. He regularly writes posts that get 100 likes, 150 likes. He wrote one that got 400 likes on his few posts. He drives an insane amount of attention. How did Chris do it? He went through our content module 2 or 3 times, and he just spends heaps of time writing content. So how to get good is like first studying LinkedIn copywriting, like really hard, like going through somebody who has a course or a module on it and who's good, right? Like other people who have good ones, like Matt Barker, his is very good. Like I would say, like, I take a lot of inspiration creating our one from him, but actual good LinkedIn copywriters, like, do a paid course. Like, don't try to do a free one. You're going to waste your time. Like, if you're really taking this seriously, get a paid one. Matt Barker's one is epic, right? I paid for his one. So good. We have paid one in our program. There's other ones out there I could probably suggest. But go through their content module multiple times and don't just read it. Start writing content. Start doing it. The second thing that I suggested him to do is anytime you can think of an idea or come up with an idea about content, write it down somewhere that you'll actually go back to and you'll use. And write down the idea in so much detail that you won't be able to forget it, because you will forget the context of the idea. So you've got to take extra notes when you're writing down notes. It's like, think back when you're at school, right? If you take down some notes from the teacher and you didn't take enough detail down, you look back at the notes and be like, I have no idea what that means. Same thing. The next thing I told him to do is to follow all of the top copywriters on LinkedIn and study copywriting. And I also mentioned a book called Copywriting Secrets by a guy called Jim Edwards. He's like a guy who's close to Russell Brunson, like a ClickFunnels guy. But like, man, copywriting just gives you this unlock. It's like, And if you don't know what copywriting is, look it up. But like, it's a skill that once you learn it, you can sell one-to-many. Like sales is a skill you can sell people one-to-one or one-to-webinar, right? Copywriting is when you can write shit and people buy it. Like I wrote an email that I just sent out that my business coach told me to do, who I paid 54 grand a year for. He told me to write an email yesterday. And I wrote the email and I wrote an offer document. So I spent like 2.5 hours writing this offer document. I already had 5 people accept. That's 15 grand, man, in a day, just from this, like learning copywriting. So copywriting is super valuable. It doesn't just translate to LinkedIn, but it's writing stuff that's persuasive. But I would follow the top copywriters in the whole LinkedIn and fill your feed with them. Read all of their content. Think, why does it work? What happens? I also told him to connect with multiple people in our program who are producing really good content and really study it and understand and get close to them and say, hey, what works for you? What are the tips and tricks? I then said, what you want to do is you want to A/B test different content types or styles of content until you find the content that you like writing and that your audience gravitates to and engages with. Like some people, like my friend Nick Brokema, loves design. And Nick is a beast designer, and he's like one of the only people on LinkedIn who I'd suggest to make a carousel because his are beautiful. But like if you don't like design and you like myself, I am woeful at design. Like, and maybe that's just a belief statement I have. I maybe want to get better at it over time. But like I'm bad at design and I like writing stuff and I like making videos and I like talking. So like that's the content I make. So pick the content type that you actually like making and then just execute on that and test different styles. Make some videos, do some selfie-ish posts if you want, posts about you in a setting, I don't know, posts about your dog, whatever. Like A/B test different styles. Obviously thinking that like, maybe thinking about the platform when you're doing it as well. Like, because the thing about LinkedIn, right, is like people come to LinkedIn to read. That they don't in their mind come to watch. You watch TikTok or Instagram threads to like not think, right? A lot of people come to LinkedIn to think. So you want to cater towards what people want on the platform. But A/B test and write heaps of content, but spend time like really writing, like really trying to get good. AI can't. It's like what we're changing our name from Unlock AI to 7-Figure Creators because like you can't just write content with AI. You have to understand copywriting first. Then you can use the AI to do it as well. The next is what I told him to do. Get a tool called Authored Up for writing your content. Authored Up is the best LinkedIn writing tool. I don't have any affiliation with them. I just love their tool. It's sick. And like it allows you to write stuff. It allows you to see what it looks like in mobile version. It allows you to go back and analyze your past content. It allows you to do heaps of stuff. It's just such a good tool. And so use Authored Up to write all your content in. And then I would also use a tool called Clio, Kleo. It's a free tool. I think Authored Up's paid. And then what you want to do is you want to find people in your niche or your niche, and you want to be like, okay, who in my niche or whose content do I really like? Cool. Open up Clio on their profile. It's a Chrome extension, and then just have a look and be like, have a look at their top performing posts, likes and comments wise. And be like, okay, which of these posts do I like? What do I like about it? And then steal like an artist and take, copy, paste their template and see if you can rewrite something very similar. So I do that all the time. Like I'll find like a really good post. I'm like, I can take elements of that, copy, paste it, rewrite it, or I save it. You know what I mean? Get inspiration from others. And then you need to like rinse and repeat this for like, I don't know. The fastest person in our program that did really well was like Chris. He was able to like 3 weeks. He could just produce banger content. But you just got to kind of like immerse yourself in the world of copywriting. And like, that's what it actually takes to get good at content. And it's actually going really deep into it and really, really studying it, like really caring and spending way. It's like anything. I always keep realizing this in life. It's like, you just got to spend way more time on things. You got to pick less things to do and spend more time on them. But like, you've just got to really go deep and really understand what makes good content work. And that once you truly understand copywriting and you're like, wow, I know that it, like for me, right? Like we tested it with our team, like Ewan had 50 followers. Like I coached him on writing a post that got 700 comments. It's like, it does work if you can write it. Like platforms now, a lot of people think what used to happen with YouTube and stuff and LinkedIn is that platforms used to favor people with like higher follower counts, but now it doesn't care. It's like you can have one follower and like if you produce the most banging epic piece of content, It's just people kind of have like limiting beliefs around it. But if you can create banger content like Ewan did in our team, 50 followers, he just like 450 followers he got like overnight or something crazy like that. Or like we had another client, Keenan, I probably mentioned him as well, but like he had 1,300 followers and he grew to 12,000 and he got 10,000 comments on one post and 1.3 million impressions, right? I've never even gotten close to that. Like his post was fucking epic. He spent a lot of time in the post, but like focus to make algorithm-proof content. Like you have to study copywriting and get really good at the skill. You can't just take templates and you can't just use AI. You have to be able to look at a LinkedIn post and say, this is why that LinkedIn post did really well. It's like if you're good at design, Steve, who I work with, he's epic at design. And I'm like, Steve, why does this look good and why does this one look bad? And he can describe it in intricate detail why. It's like how I can look at people's LinkedIn profiles and be like, I can kind of tell how many leads you're going to get. Like, I just know because and I could describe it in detail. And that's how you know you're good at the skill. Like, it's how if I review our team's sales calls and I'm just like watching, it's like, I just know because like I've spent a lot of time thinking about sales. I still think I'm shit at sales, by the way. Like, I don't think I'm like a master at sales at all. I think the more you learn about something, the more you realize you know nothing. And so even copywriting, I don't even think I'm that good. I'm like, okay. But I think when you get to that point of like, you realize, okay, I can actually identify why this LinkedIn post did well. That's when you have like an unlock. And so that's what it actually takes to write algorithm-proof content as well. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode of the How to Make Money as a Creator podcast. If you could give me a like or a subscribe on YouTube, or if you could give me a 5-star, I'd like really, really appreciate it as well. I love making this stuff. I could talk about it for days. Catch ya.